everyone, it is Katie with the Lunar Moon. I am here to do your weekly reading for December 23rd into the 30th. It is also going to be a new moon reading. And it's the reading that encompasses most of our holidays. We've got Christmas coming up, we've got a lot of other stuff coming up. And, we just ended Yule. So I am going to start shuffling our deck here and we can get started. The deck that we're working with today is the Beautiful Creatures Tarot. I usually go into the room and pull out all of the decks and do kind of like the hand check and put my hand on decks and see kind of what I'm feeling. And intuitively, this is the deck that called out to me for this reading. Because it's going to be a new moon reading, we're going to maintain the same format that we've used in the past for our new moon readings. So I will tell you what each card is supposed to represent as I pull them. So I'm gonna get shuffling and we can begin. Okay, so here we have it. Our first card is what to release from this cycle. And we got the moon. We've been getting the moon pretty often lately, actually, and I'm interested. I like that this still has the birds up in the top. We've got the moon imagery here. There's sort of illusion and uncertainty. We'll talk a little bit more about it, but we've got the keyword down here, concealment. So releasing concealment from this cycle. For what we can welcome into this cycle, we have the Hanging One, and that is perception. And I'm not sure if that is the Hanged Man or if that is specific to this deck. There are a few additional cards in this deck that have different meanings, so I will double check that before we go on with the reading. For what to focus on, we have the Habit. And this is a pretty gory looking little card here, and that is dependency. Which is very Frankenstein-esque. That cat does not look very friendly. So dependency is something we need to focus on this cycle, apparently. And again, we will look into this major arcana, the different meanings behind this particular deck here. And then I'm sorry, I'm gonna put this here. And then for an advice card or how we can stay focused, we have the Strength card, and this is Fortitude, and I really actually like this artwork. It's really interesting to me, but it's really cool. I like that. So the Strength card is our advice card, or how to stay present. So that is our reading. Let me get you a better look here. So this is a much more interesting deck. I have not worked with a deck like this before. Okay, so I have the book with me because specifically we have the Habit, which I think might be the devil, I'm not quite sure. And then the Hanging One is essentially the Hanged Man. But I kind of want to see, because this doesn't feel like a traditional deck, and we have, I just realized a full reading of Major Arcana. So this is, I just want to make sure, like I want to see kind of instinctively, so I can tell you right now, what we're releasing from the cycle is concealment and the moon. The moon has illusion, and I think there are sort of these doubts and these things that we've been telling ourselves, or maybe expectations that we have that weren't very realistic, and that is what we are letting go and leaving in the past as we move forward. And what we are releasing is the Hanging One, or Perception. We recently did just get the Hanged Man in one of our recent readings, didn't we? And that's sort of, to me, we are welcoming a sort of, yeah, I don't know. I'm really feeling you hold the power to do anything you please. The only question I have for you is, where will you invest your power? Accepting your perception, changing your perception so that it better serves you. Upright in the reading, this card represents seeing things from a whole different perspective. Don't lose yourself within an illusion or become a slave to people who are nothing more than holograms. Learn how to distinguish what is real and what is fake. Additionally, learn how to sacrifice old points of view to be able to gain new points of view. See things such as people and situations for what they really are. So I actually, with the moon, letting go of concealment and letting go of the illusion of people, changing your perception to see things for how they really are so that it better serves you. It's starting to make a little more sense. This is very alien to me, but I think it's important to kind of maybe change my perspective and play with different symbols and imagery when I'm doing my reading so that I can get messages in a different way. For what we should focus on, we have the habit or dependency, which I have a feeling is supposed to be the Devil card. In an upright reading, this card indicates that you are being led in the wrong direction, a direction that has no good consequences whatsoever. Should you proceed down this path, you will find yourself a slave to addictions that will never let you rest. If you develop bad habits, it will take a very long time for you to overcome these patterns. You may also find yourself depending on others, worst of all, living off of them. In the end, once an addiction has developed, whether it's drugs or sex or another variety, mercy and salvation will seem very far away and difficult to attain. But with willpower and self-control, you can fight being a victim to your addictions. And this is a very extreme representation of that card, and it is the Devil. I feel like, specifically with this week ahead and with what's going on, a big focus on that, what to focus on is, what are our shortcomings in our life right now? What are we dependent on? And I think this is more like emotional dependence. I don't think it's necessarily, I mean, I don't know you, maybe. Maybe you are like at a stage in your life where you are kind of living a little more recklessly, and it is dangerous, and you're getting dangerously close to not being able to make a turnaround. But I think for the most part, this is a lot more subtle. It's going to be a situation where you're making poor choices, or you're making decisions in your life where you might be dependent emotionally on somebody, or you might be dependent on somebody's approval. It could be that you are looking for, getting a sensation of approval, like you're looking for approval in everything that you do. Almost like, well, the lack of independence, for sure. I don't know that this is so much like falling far from grace as much as needing to find an independence. And so this particular card is what we should focus on, and I think this is telling us to take a look at where we are losing our independence and finding out how we can gain it back. As a advice card, strength is a good one. This is a very, so it seems like a really negative reading, but I don't feel that way. I think the imagery and the symbols in this deck are, it's very like gothic or macabre, and so that probably is giving a sensation of it being like a really dark reading, but I don't think so at all. I think it's pretty on point with the most recent readings that we've had. Like, we've had the moon pretty often. We've had the Devil, I think, once in the last month or so. We've had the Hangman. So, I mean, I feel like when we're doing readings this often, it's pretty common that these are going to be coming up, and it's not going to be that strong of a meaning. We have this illusionment, or, you know, I think one of the biggest themes that we've had in the last month, specifically in December, is this idea of like we're taking on a lot and we're taking on all these things, and maybe we're not being honest with ourselves or having the right perspective on basically what we're capable of or what we have to offer or give right now. And we've gotten to that point to where we're starting to recognize that and see where that sits or where that lies, and we're ready to release it and let it go. And, you know, with that is going to give us new perspective. So that's what we're welcoming, is this new perspective, this new honest look on life, and this honest outlook on what's going on. And if we're going to have an honest outlook, we really should be taking an even deeper and more honest look at ourselves and what we are dependent on, and ways that we can kind of start relying on ourselves more instead of relying on others or other situations or feelings or emotions. And I do get a sensation of emotional addiction here. I feel like it's sort of the right time of year to kind of be addicted to nostalgia, or like, you know, you're feeling nostalgic, or you feel like you want to feel love, or you want to feel this sensation. You're looking back on like previous years in your life or previous holidays that you've lived through. So I do get that sensation as well. And then for your advice card, we have strength. Strength is fortitude. Knowing that we have that inner strength, knowing that we have that we don't need to focus on dependencies. Like, we don't need to have those nostalgic feelings or those memories. We don't need to have our head in the clouds anymore with the moon card. We don't need to rely on anybody but ourselves. But at the same sense, like, it's okay to, if somebody is offering themselves to us. It takes strength to accept help sometimes too. So, but because this is such a like weird or new or different deck, I do want to look at the strength card in the book as well. And we're all upright too. This is like rare. It's rare to have all major arcana all upright. I don't know, I'm a little interested to see. I did shuffle, I promise. So the strength card upright in this reading, the card represents the fact that you are a strong person. You have the strength to overcome any obstacle and to withstand so much of what life throws at you. You are entitled to use mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional force at any time that you please. Never withhold your strength and force, and never consider yourself weak, because weakness is only a state of mind. Fortitude is at your dispense and disposition. So this is pretty positive. Like, we know that we can handle what's on the table right now. The cards that are like, we can handle the cards on the table. We've kind of played our cards right. I think we've put the emotional work into letting go of our illusions or any of our delusional thinking that we might have had, or specifically just maybe the instabilities that we've been carrying around for the bulk of the year. We have a new perspective on life. We have a new perspective on who we want to be and what we want to bring into the new year. We need to take an honest look at what we are letting go and make sure there's nothing getting kind of brought along with us on our back. You know, just do some extra house cleaning and make sure you're letting that stuff go, because, you know, you want to make sure that your focus is going to be on your strengths and you're bringing the best version of yourself into the new year. And this is our last reading for the year, essentially. So, you know, we've got Christmas, we've got New Year's up into this reading. I mean, this is going on, this is our reading for up until the 30th. So this is up to December 30th. And holy cow, guys, we're going into a new decade. Does anyone else feel just like, whoa, like I feel like there's electricity in the air. Like, you can tell, you can feel the sensation that there's a new decade coming. So yeah, this is our weekly reading. I don't want to go too much in depth with it because we are going to be doing a New Year reading. So it's going to be a pick your card reading, and we're going to have sort of like different options for you guys to look at the year ahead. And if we're going into the new year, I think this is a good bit of just basic small advice that we can take into it. You know, it's our final week, and yeah, I mean, let's just finish up that house cleaning, make sure we're letting go of the stuff we need to let go of, and start the next week with new perspective and with strength. So it started off a little dark. I think this is a darker deck. So it maybe is a great deck for really hard or harsh messages or tough love, almost, is the sensation that I'm getting. But like I said, this was intuitively the deck that called out to me for this weekly reading. So I wanted to get my hands on it. I wanted to try it out for a first time, and I hope that some of you enjoyed it. I really hope that these messages resonated with you. If you know, you guys have any criticism or critiques for the reading, be sure to let us know in the comments below. I love doing these. My main goal for doing these is just to kind of get some different advice or some different perspectives out there for anyone who might be watching that might help them better themselves or their situation. That is the whole goal of me doing a reading. So I really hope that something resonated with you, or you got some bit of advice that you can carry into the week with you. And thank you for letting me read for you. As usual, if you want to work with this deck, or if you really felt like it was something that spoke to you, the deck is available on our store. I will link that down below. And I will see you guys really soon with our yearly reading coming up ahead. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, and that way you won't miss our yearly reading next week. So thank you so much, and have a great time, guys. Thank you so much for letting me read for you.